Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Eric Bird, here at StopStrugglingNow.com. And today, we have to talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. The big, beautiful bill. Otherwise known as, you know you live in a third world country. You just don't know it yet. The realization of what is really happening, I have to talk about it today because devaluing your currency. That's right, the US dollar. The US dollar going down in value around the world. Having to print more money because we're $37 trillion in debt, and adding $4 trillion more over the next 10 years means we're $41 trillion in debt. And because of this BBB, people are going to lose their Medicare, Medicaid, 15 to 20 million Americans. Good luck, Americans. If you don't know what's going on, you're going to be lost. Just because you make a lot of money may not matter in the future, because you're going to have to pay higher taxes in the future. And somebody better figure out how to cover $41 trillion in a deficit over the next 10 years, because we're adding $700 billion in interest payments that's going to be needed. And that's on top of the $1 trillion annually of interest only. So we're going to be doing about $1.8 trillion. Where does that put you? That puts you in the danger zone. No safety nets. What's happening over in Texas right now with the floods? Heaven help people, because FEMA and the federal government may not be coming to save you. Some of you who have Section 8 housing, some of those vouchers are not going to be used. Some of you who have Medicaid and Medicare and have services that's going to be coming up this month or the month of August may no longer be covered. You all are in danger. The only way you can't be in danger is with income, passive income, wealth, because you're going to need to pay for things that previously were complimentary in a lot of areas. Now you're going to have to pay 20%, 10%, 15% or more, because you may not be covered for items, or 100%. That would be bad. And welcome. Stop Struggling Now gear. Check. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. Now, let's get to it. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. If you're still here, you know I'm about to get into something that all Americans need to see. All United States citizens need to see. Everybody needs to see this around the world, because guess what? Your country's doing the same thing to you as the ordinary citizen, the OCs, that they're doing here in America. Taxes are going to rise. I'm talking about property taxes. Your insurance is going to rise. If you have insurance coverage, your premiums are going to rise. All of them. Auto, health, all of it. Home, gonna rise. If you're not prepared, you better get prepared in 1 year, 5 months. That's all you have, ladies and gentlemen. And some of you have less than that, because if you look like me, if you look a little lighter than me, and have a Hispanic last name, you might not even be in general population anymore. You might be in a detention center, because you know what they're doing out here. You have a passport, you have a real ID, you have a driver's license, you are an American citizen. Clip, clip, they're cutting it off, chopping them up. Or, I don't believe this is real. Think about that when they're talking about those voter ID cards. Same thing goes back in history. You show them the ID, it's legit. Oh no, it's not legit. And by the way, we're going to take it. We're going to cut it up. So now you don't have this piece of paper to prove who you are. Right this way to detention. Slavery. Indemnitude. In servitude is the word. Can you believe this is happening in America? Let's get into the numbers, shall we? Here's why, ladies and gentlemen. See this right here? Can you believe what's on the screen right here? I know it's hard. $60,000. Lawnmower. 3 cars. $60 lawnmower. 3 cars. Under $10,000 total. And a $12,000 house in 1959. Here's what you need to know. Are you ready for it? $4 per hour, ladies and gentlemen. $4 per hour. $7,600 and some odd dollars annually. Get you that. So now you might say, okay, Eric, where are you going with this? I'm going with you better get your behind in work mode. Because nobody's coming to save you. Emerging millionaires, where are you? Because it's going down. All right? Just letting you know, it's going down. And when it goes down, you better have money in America, outside of America. You also may need to worry about how to get to the destination outside of America. And all I can tell you is things are not equal. Things are not the same. And now I'm going to start off with this right here, the most important part. So when you're sitting around here and you're belying, you're sitting there upset, talking about why are states in the United States making it mandatory that people should get paid a measly $20 per hour minimum wage, or as a minimum wage. Forget minimum wage. As a minimum wage in America, $20 an hour, and you're feeling like, oh my God, it's too much. That's right. We're going to side with the government going 20 is way too much. Businesses are going to go out of business, yada, yada, yada. That $4 an hour, ladies and gentlemen, do you see it on the screen right now? In 1959 would be equivalent to roughly $44.10 to $61.16. I implore you to go start doing the math, because $44.10 per hour ends up being around $84,000 a year. If the calculator's right. You might be able to live decently if that's the average wage, but it's not the average wage, ladies and gentlemen. If you take away the top 10% of the wealthiest, the average wage in America is only $45,000 per year. So think about this. When you're out there telling people, oh, you shouldn't make $30 an hour. You shouldn't make $20 an hour. Businesses are going out of business. Well, they should be out of business because you want the best businesses, the most efficient businesses to pay people a livable wage to be in business. Why should you have to work 2 jobs just to make ends meet? Come on now, ladies and gentlemen, get with it. Get with the program. I'm going to say this right now. It's July 4th weekend. Are you free? I'm going to say this and I'm going to say it again. I used to work with people. And when you are getting you're one of the best workers. You know who the best workers are. The guys that show up on time. The guys that your bosses say, hey, we have a problem. I need your assistance. You know who the top dogs are. But the top dogs get overlooked. They don't get the promotions. They don't get some sort of wage increase. And here you are working with people, and then we get called into a room and your boss says, hey guys, you guys have done such great work over the last 6 months. Here's some pizza and here's a drink. My coworkers, majority, 99% of them are like, oh man, this is awesome. Thank you. And oh yeah, have an extra 30 minutes of break time or lunch time today. I'm the one standing up saying, wait, I don't care about the pizza. I don't care about the extra 30 minutes of lunch. What about the promotion? What about the raises? What's happening here? My coworkers, well, hey man, what are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean, what am I doing? What are you doing being happy, putting your ass on the line, working hard, showing up here on time, being a good employee? They're giving you this honor of what they call, since you've been doing a great job, and you can't get a raise, you can't get a promotion? You don't see a problem here. I see a problem here. It looks like I'm going to have to exit. That's how we do it, ladies and gentlemen. You have skills. You can find a higher paying job. You should not settle for less. All right, let's keep moving because I put the calculator out here. See this $84,787.20? That was on $44.10. I think most people would be very happy if they got $85,000 a year or more. You could live comfortably. And I don't mean really comfortably, but at least you know you can afford where you live. You know you can afford a house. That's $7,000 per month, ladies and gentlemen. That means you can live in a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom apartment if you want to. That means you can buy a $2,000 to $2,500 mortgage. Right? Simple. I don't see a problem here. But see, that's not what's going on. That's what you have to think about. Let's move to something else that a lot of people overlook. Look at this, the buying power of $12,000 in 1959. Look at this. $12,000. Can you believe this? You're going to end up adjusted for inflation is $132,000. That's what you would have to do to beat inflation. Can you believe this now? How many of you have $132,000? Just like back then, the guy that had $4 an hour, he didn't have 12,000. But you have to make 132,000, so to speak. That's not really the equivalent, but that is what we're talking about. Look at this. From 12,000 in 66 years, this is the equivalent. Buying power is 132,000. How many of you right now could go out here and be like, I can buy $132,000 worth of stuff in a couple of years. I'm going to be liquid at $66,000 every year. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Now you understand the dire straits that's going on. In fact, you know what else? Let me see. Check this out right here. Buying power over time. $12,000, 1959 to 2025. Here's the opposite side of that. Look at this. $12,000 is worth less over 66 years. That $12,000 can only buy you $1,080.72 in 2025. That's how fast and how far they devalued the currency in 66 years. Think about something right now, ladies and gentlemen. Think about this. Here's what happens in generations. Your parents, right? Let's just say you were born in 2025 or 2000. It's 25 years later. You're 25 years old. You don't know nothing about what happened in 1980 or 1970 or 1960. You're living now and you're sitting there looking at how much things cost. You're like in over your head if you're under 25 for the most part, unless you found a nice paying job. So people don't realize what has happened and what continues to happen to put you in this position. Your government is not helping you. Everything is going to rise because they have a blank checkbook, which is you, because you're going to pay the taxes. You don't want to lose your house? You're going to pay that property tax. Right? You're going to pay your mortgage. You don't want to lose your car because most people have their cars financed, right? Well, you're going to pay that finance and you're going to make sure you have insurance on this car, because if you don't, we're going to add the insurance on as the lien holder. So you're locked. And a lot of people lock themselves in a box financially, where if they lose their job, they could lose everything. 70% of people don't even have $1,000 in their bank account that's in the United States. All right, let's get back to it, shall we? So this is going to be short. It's going to be sweet. But let me know what you guys think down below. Let me get you into this too. Look at this. In the United States, the wealthiest 10% of households hold a disproportionately large share of the nation's wealth. Specifically, 8.1 million is the average in wealth and collectively controls 67.2% of the total household wealth. I always said 70%. I've always rounded up to 70%. But the top 10% of households in America control 70% of the wealth. Okay, if you know that, guess what else? The top 10% of households in America own 93% of all stocks of the stock market. So when you were sitting here being fed, oh, look, the stock market's going great. It just went up. Well, guess what? If the top 10% of the wealthiest who control 70% of the wealth and the stock market goes up, they're adding to their wealth. Main Street, the people who are 70% of Main Street living paycheck to paycheck and don't have $1,000 in their bank account, that's where the problem comes in. They are making a lot more money, even just a 10% increase. If the average is 8.1 million worth of wealth, a 10% increase is $800,000 in less than 1 year. They're going to be fine. So think about that while you're sitting here celebrating July 4th weekend, Independence Day, which, by the way, Independence Day is only for a few. Let's just consider that, because some people right now are being kidnapped off the street like the SS is in town from 1935. All right, now look at this right here, which is going to be the most important one. This contrasts sharply with the bottom 50% of households who own only 2.5% of the total wealth. 2.5% for the bottom 50% of Americans. If you want to extrapolate it to 350 million divided by 2, which is 175 million, but see, you forget there's a lot of people 17 and under who don't count as an adult, but let's just use that. 175 million people make 2.5% of the wealth, the total wealth. That's it. You don't think that's a problem? What about, think about the top 10%, and that's 35 million. They control nearly 70% of the wealth. Can you guys believe that? What's even more astonishing is 1%. 1%. The top 1% own nearly 50% of the wealth. Can you believe that? I know. And this is according to the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. I'll have links down below so you guys can check this out. So just so you guys understand what's happening here. Top 10% of households' wealth, you guys already saw it, 67.2. The bottom 50% of wealth had a $60,000 on average. As a group, they held 2.5%. And look at this. The top 20% of households by income, 4.3 million in wealth on average. As a group, they held 71.1% of total household wealth. And the bottom 20%, 70 million people of households' income had 180,000 in wealth on average. As a group, they held only 3% of total household wealth. Can you guys believe these numbers? Can you believe these numbers? These numbers, it's ugly out here, ladies and gentlemen. You want to know what's uglier? That new BBB, fake BBB bill. They are sitting here telling people the economic benefit. They're saying that they're expecting the GDP to grow. There's going to be some sort of growth. Come on. You can't be this foolish. How are you going to have growth if you have tariff, which means you put up barriers, which economic barriers for our corporations to sell outside of the United States. Our corporations can't sell to the other countries because the other countries are going to put up reciprocal tariffs, meaning our products are going to cost more to their citizens. Their citizens don't have the same amount of money that the United States, Canadian citizens, and EU citizens generally have. So there's going to be layoffs. You don't have Medicaid. You don't have Medicaid, may not have Medicare, and now your business health care plan is gone. Good luck, Americans. Your wages are going to stay in what, a 40 or 30 or 20 or a dollar range. Prices go up. Good luck, Americans. It's beautiful that we talk about freedom. It's beautiful you can talk about the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. It's great that you can talk about inhumane societies around the world. Well, when you have a country that's not willing to take care of half of their citizens so the other half can benefit, I think that will no longer be called freedom. You should think about it, because your life, your family's lives are all going to be on the line over the next couple of years. And only the wealthy will be able to survive. If you don't have stocks, don't have them, you need to buy them. You need to figure out additional streams of revenue and income. Because good luck, Americans. Because America is not what it used to be. And now they are destroying the most vulnerable of us all. Those who need help from their government. Those who are going to need help from their state. The mechanisms are being destroyed, and you are sitting by thinking everything's going to be fine. Somebody's going to fix it. Unfortunately, there is nobody coming to save you. I won't go to the next level, which is Hitler. The Jewish people terrorized, other immigrant groups terrorized. It took damn near 10 years for this country to do anything, to join the Allies. They knew what was going on. So you have to ask yourself, do you know where you live? They are trying to claim that this tax break bill that's going to cost $4 trillion, they're saying how they're going to pay it is that there's going to be GDP growth. How's there going to be GDP growth, ladies and gentlemen? Our companies can't sell outside the United States except to a few countries here and there. So we're going to lay off people, as I've already stated. You're going to charge United States citizens more for anything imported here. And then you're going to raise the taxes. You're going to raise all the other costs for us. So any gains that you have wage-wise, if it's under 20%, then you're going negative. You're basically going to need a 15 to 20% pay raise just to stay level. So let's see what the White House is talking about, economic advisors who are goofy. I don't understand how you can have so many unqualified individuals in one room unless you got to pledge allegiance, loyalty to somebody, and that's how they pick the person. So then it's basically yes men instead of people that know what the hell they're doing. White House economic advisors are saying there's going to be somewhere between look at this curve. They're trying to say that there's going to be a 2 to 3% growth in 2026. That's not possible. The only way that's going to happen is a few things. The Federal Reserve is going to have to reduce their rate, and then they have to hope all of a sudden people start buying homes again. That could help. That could spur the economy a little bit. But that spur, it's not going to be able to produce the amount of money that they think it will. 3%, and now we're going to have to pay whatever percentage it is for our debt that we owe. And it's going to be additional monies as well. So think about all of that. Once again, I'm going to end this because it starts getting real crazy. I'm going to leave a link down below so you guys understand what's going on. One big borrowing bill. Guess who's going to pay this, ladies and gentlemen? Bill, if made permanent, this is made permanent now. Impact of the deficit, it's going to be over $3 trillion. Oh, and by the way, I wanted to show you something on this graph. Notice the other people, the tax foundation, they're expecting growth to be 1%. Congressional Budget Office, they're talking about 0.5%. The school that this president went to, Penn Wharton Business School, is also on this 0.5%. The Yale Budget Lab, they're getting it like it's going to start going down in 3 years because a lot of things happen in the bill 2 and 3 years from now. So they're saying it's going to take it to a nosedive in about 10 years, 9 years, where there's going to be a negative GDP growth will be Japan. So welcome to your future. It's already pointed out by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 independent organizations say 1% or less GDP growth. So adding 4 trillion is not a good idea. Congratulations, Americans. You are getting screwed. That's all I have to say. It's disgusting we're talking about this on Independence Day, but I got to tell you something. A poignant situation. My ancestors were picking cotton in 1776 on Independence Day. And after. And with all that said, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And I know it's hard out here, but unfortunately, it's going to be harder for everybody that's not in the top 10% on the wealth curve. All of you guys that don't have millions of dollars worth of wealth are going to be in trouble. And who does not have disposable income to pay for whatever you need to pay out of pocket. Because it's going to be hectic out here, and you're going to have to pray for those people in Texas right now with the massive flood that came out of nowhere. Several people have lost their lives, and now they're going to have to rely on the government. Good luck, Americans, because the people over in Helene are still waiting on their government to help them out in North Carolina. Those people in Arkansas had to appeal, trying to get some money because of their disasters from the tornadoes. Good luck, Americans. And now you have Medicare, Medicaid, nursing homes, hospitals in rural areas. They're all going to say bye-bye. There's already one hospital already that said because of this bill, we're closing down. A nursing home. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The elderly's going to be affected. Those of you who are on major medical situations, such as cancer victims that need their chemotherapy, let's say, or need some surgery that cost tens of thousands of dollars, and they have no insurance coverages because Medicaid will not cover it, Medicare will not cover it. 15 to 20 million Americans. And other Americans are sitting by on this Independence Day celebrating rockets, red glare, while fellow human beings, fellow citizens are about to die, given death sentences. And then we have a roundup of the SS rounding up American citizens and anybody that looks like a Spanish person getting arrested and detained. That's right. The glare. It's blinding out here. And you know some people get up to here. But unfortunately, the only way you're going to be able to win is financial freedom. So you have 1 year, 5 months to go to get everything in order, reduce your debt, make sure your credit is 775 and up, and get those extra streams of income. And with all that said, Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And I know it's hard out here. And that's why the message is money, money, money is mandatory. And good luck, Americans. And with all that said, keep your head up. Keep moving. And I'm out.